The US Open entry list was official. Eala's name was on it. Yet the 21-year-old from Manila was not content simply to secure her place in the season's final Grand Slam. She wanted her fans to walk through the gates of Flushing Meadows with her. When she announced she would give away 5 VIP tickets to the US Open, the tennis world paused. It was an act of generosity almost unheard of at this level of the sport. An unexpected gift from a player who, even after slipping one ranking spot from world number 28 to number 29, chose to look outward instead of inward. The announcement landed in the middle of her whirlwind homecoming week in Manila, nestled between a formal presidential reception at Malacañang Palace and a massive public gathering at the Glorietta Activity Center. It was never just a ticket promotion. It was a deliberate thank you to the supporters who had packed stadiums from Melbourne to Washington and turned every stop into something the WTA had rarely experienced. At an age when most athletes are still learning how to manage the spotlight, Eala was already turning that spotlight back toward the people who had carried her. With the US Open set for August 30th through September 13th at Flushing Meadows, she was preparing for her second main draw appearance at the tournament. Instead of generating headlines solely with her tennis, she captured attention with a gesture that felt personal, rare, and deeply rooted in gratitude. Across the tennis community, the same question kept surfacing. Had any player ever done something quite like this? The timing of the announcement mattered. Fresh off a historic Wimbledon run that made her the first Filipino in the Open era to reach the second week of a Grand Slam singles event, Eala returned home not to bask in the achievement but to reconnect. Filipino fans had become the engine behind her rise. At the Australian Open earlier in the season, long lines formed hours before her matches. At the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, her presence reportedly drove a noticeable jump in ticket sales. Wimbledon saw London-based Filipinos rearranging work schedules and filling stands with national flags and handmade signs. The same energy followed her to the Washington, D.C. Open, where demand surged the moment her direct entry was confirmed. The Eala Effect had become one of the defining stories in women's tennis, proof that a single player could expand the sport's reach in ways few marketing campaigns ever manage. Despite the rapid ascent, she never lost sight of the beginning. During the packed Glorietta event, she stood in front of thousands and offered a simple emotional message. Maraming salamat sa supporters sa pagkakasama. I'm doing my best to make you guys proud. Those words were not a polished press line. They were the foundation for what came next. By turning that appreciation into 5 VIP US Open tickets, she transformed a verbal thank you into something tangible. The tickets were offered to fans who shared personal stories of support, creating a direct invitation for people around the world, especially Filipinos, to stand inside one of the biggest moments of her season. Former US Open champion Andy Roddick had already described the Eala Effect as a genuine movement, praising her ability to pull new audiences into tennis with unmatched energy. The giveaway proved the movement was never only about the results she produced on court. It was about the community that had believed in a 13-year-old training at the Rafa Nadal Academy long before the rest of the world paid attention. Within hours of the social media announcement, thousands of entries flooded in. Fans described waking at impossible hours to watch matches, traveling across countries, and celebrating every ranking climb as if it belonged to them. Eala had seen the sacrifices up close. She had watched supporters wait under intense heat simply for a photograph or an autograph. She had stayed long after events ended, signing until her hand ached, posing with children who dreamed of following her path, and with grandparents who had waited decades for a Filipino tennis star. She understood that their encouragement had been part of the fuel. The 5 VIP tickets were her way of answering that loyalty. The tennis world reacted with genuine surprise. Athletes find many ways to engage with fans, yet handing out 5 VIP packages to the sport's final Grand Slam of the year remained uncommon. Conversations spread across the WTA community. 4 Filipino supporters who had already filled arenas from Australia to the east coast of the United States, the gesture simply confirmed what they already believed. Eala had never forgotten the people standing behind her. The movement rested on loyalty and mutual respect, and she was determined to keep that balance. During the July 15, 2026 gathering at Glorietta, the depth of that relationship was impossible to miss. Thousands packed the venue, Some waited as long as 8 hours. They arrived carrying Philippine flags, wearing shirts printed with her Kapag May Tayaga, May Nilaga mantra, and holding handmade signs filled with messages of pride. The program included an on-stage conversation, interactive moments, and storytelling that brought her closer to the crowd. She signed until her hand was sore and posed with every age group. Later that same homecoming week, she stood at Malacañang Palace as President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. presented her with a presidential citation for the Wimbledon campaign. Speaking with visible emotion, she said, "I feel very seen. All the hours that aren't on TV are seen and validated and appreciated." Those words captured both the private work behind the public success and the gratitude she felt for everyone who had stayed the course. Globe Telecom Chief Marketing Officer Katie Dyson distilled the larger meaning. When Alex stepped onto that court, she wasn't just swinging her racket. She carried the hopes, the grit, and the indomitable spirit of the entire Filipino people. The ticket giveaway became Eala's personal expression of the same idea, a concrete thank you to the community that had helped turn a young player from Manila into one of the most watched rising names in the game. The response was immediate and global. Entries arrived from the United States, the Philippines, the Middle East, and Europe. A nurse in London described traveling to Wimbledon, standing for hours in the rain with a Philippine flag, and crying when Eala walked onto center court, not only because of the tennis, but because representation and hope had finally arrived on one of the sport's grandest stages. A mother in California wrote about driving 6 hours with her young daughter to Indian Wells so the girl could see in person the player who had inspired her to pick up a racket. A grandmother in Manila shared years of carefully saved newspaper clippings and quiet prayers before every match. A young player admitted that watching Eala compete against the world's best had restored her own confidence. "She showed me that Filipinos can be champions too." These were not contest entries. They were personal testimonies of a connection that stretched across generations and continents. For decades, the Philippines had been known primarily as a basketball nation. Tennis remained a narrower pursuit. Eala helped change that perception. She made the sport feel attainable and encouraged a new generation to imagine themselves on center court, chasing Grand Slam titles, and representing their country on the biggest stages. The giveaway also carried a sense of responsibility. At the Malacañang ceremony, she had promised the president she would continue representing the Philippines with pride and integrity. Offering 5 VIP tickets became another way of keeping that promise. It demonstrated that her focus extended beyond ranking points and match wins. She remained committed to recognizing the people whose belief had made the extraordinary season possible. As the North American hardcourt swing and the US Open drew closer, the ticket announcement had already deepened the bond between player and supporters. The Eala Effect was never defined solely by what happened inside the lines. It was equally defined by the person she chose to be when the cameras were not rolling. Entries continued to arrive from every corner of the Filipino diaspora, New York to California, London to Dubai, Manila to Melbourne. Each story adding another layer to the movement that had transformed a 21-year-old into a global tennis figure. One entry after another underlined the same truth. The relationship had grown far larger than any single tournament. The young player struggling with confidence. The nurse who found pride in representation. The mother driving hours to plant a dream in her daughter. The grandmother who had followed every junior step. Together they illustrated why 5 VIP tickets felt like more than a prize. They felt like a shared invitation to keep writing the story together at Flushing Meadows. While the draw for the US Open still lay ahead and the hardcourt stretch continued to unfold, Eala's gesture had already reinforced the foundation beneath her eyes. The tennis world had been surprised by the scale of the gift. Her supporters had simply recognized the character they already knew. The movement had always been about more than one athlete's results. It was about community, about loyalty, about a nation that found its tennis hero and a hero who refused to forget the people who had believed first. If this story of generosity, representation, and the bond between a rising star and her global fan base moved you, make sure you are subscribed to it Stateside Tennis. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. From the hardcourt battles still to come to the moments that will define her second US Open main draw appearance. The tickets are only the beginning. The real story continues on the courts of Flushing Meadows, and we will be there for every step.